Contract talks flatlined. Essex-Windsor paramedics head to conciliation. Gordie Howe Bridge boost.
Gives us the opportunity to look at our response times and how those systems work.
Security tightened after a man attempted to cross the two-nation corridor. And allegations of a toxic workplace.
We had allegations on this side, we had denials, and maybe a different narrative on the other side.
What's happening behind closed doors at Windsor City Hall?
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on CTV Windsor and AM 800. Contract talks for EMS services across Windsor, Essex had broken down, but are expected to pick up this week. Paramedics with CUPE Local 2974 voted 100% in favor of strike action back in February. CTV's Robert Lothian joins me with the latest on these negotiations. Robert, where are we at this point in time?
Stefanie, the union and the county have some conciliation dates set for Thursday. These are contract negotiations which have already been going on for several months, and after recently breaking down, the union is now hopeful to see some progress. This will be the first of two scheduled conciliation dates. Workers have been without a contract already since the end of March. A big sticking point here is trying to keep pace across the province, with other markets competing to recruit and retain workers. Representing about 340 EMS workers, Local 2974 President James Jovanovich says they need a deal to keep the region competitive and stop their members from burning out.
So again, we're looking for stabilization, the ability to recruit, retain, to offer in protections such as mental health supports, things in line with other first responders that we're simply not competitive with. So we're really looking to stabilize the profession as a whole.
If a deal is not reached during conciliation, there are additional bargaining dates set in future weeks. Jovanovich says the goal here is to avoid any job action that could then affect patients here across Windsor, Essex. Stefanie.
Okay, Robert, thank you for this. Security has been heightened at the Gordie Howe International Bridge after a Canadian with a criminal history managed to gain access in March.
So that individual, it was not an easy opportunity for them to enter the bridge, and I don't want to provide additional details because I don't want people to attempt to copy that process.
Bridge Chief Relations Officer Heather Grondin describing the incident as a one-off. U.S. Customs and Border Protection previously telling CTV News a 28-year-old attempted to cross the bridge on March 6th. Since then, security has increased. While unintended, the bridge officials say the event is a test of their response.
It gives us the opportunity to look at our response times and how those systems work, who calls who, how quickly people respond and react. Really any opportunity right now to take an issue or initiative, reflect upon that, improve upon it, is something that we welcome at this time period.
In other news, Windsor City Hall has fired back at a former employee in an ongoing employment lawsuit. According to local media reports, the city denies all of the allegations made by former city planner Tom Hunt. Our Michelle Molesky joins us now with the details on this tonight. Michelle.
Stefanie, both the Windsor Star and CBC Windsor are reporting the city denies Tom Hunt's allegations, saying he was let go because of a change in direction in how the city operates. We haven't been able to see the statement of defense for ourselves. In his own statement of claim, which we have reviewed, Tom Hunt says he was humiliated during his last 18 months on the job. Tom Hunt, seen here in a CTV story from 2017, worked as Windsor's land use planner for 25 years. According to his statement of claim, in January 2023, he was given working notice that his employment would end in 18 months. What followed, Hunt alleges, was more than a year of professional marginalization and negative treatment. Hunt alleges he was denied access to city emails, prevented from attending city meetings, and had his duties assigned to other staff members. According to local media reports, the city now says Hunt was denied access to certain emails because he was on a medical leave, And they are reporting the city needed to make changes to meet provincial housing mandates. Windsor says Hunt's lawsuit is full of vexatious allegations designed to embarrass.
It's definitely becoming more common that cases are going public, and because employees are filing their cases publicly, employers feel a much greater need to respond publicly.
Employment lawyer Sunira Chaudhry isn't involved in the case, but reminds taxpayers the end result of this kind of public dispute will likely not be known.
You might have both parties enter into a mediation or ultimately a settlement, and that's where the story drops for the rest of us. And media is left saying we had allegations on this side, we had denials, and maybe a different narrative on the other side, and we're not let back into the story. That's very common.
Windsor recently settled its dispute with former engineer Chris Nepsey. He made similar allegations. Allegations the city similarly publicly disputed. Both sides have now signed non-disclosure agreements.
We need to be careful about just assuming or jumping to a conclusion that just by going public, that means you're getting paid more. That's definitely not the case in a lot of circumstances.
Now, Michelle, you've been digging into the details of the Nepsey settlement. Where are you at in that investigation?
Yeah, so you're right, Stephanie. We launched a Freedom of Information request back last fall seeking the specific details in his settlement. Now, it was rejected twice by the City of Windsor, so we sent a request for reconsideration to Toronto. The matter is now in the hands of an analyst at the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Ontario. Stephanie, we've not been given any indication, any idea at this point about when the IPC might respond, and it's my understanding that would be the end of the road in terms of getting access to the information about what is included in the settlement with Chris Nepsey, even if it's only to find out if money was given to him, taxpayer dollars. That's what we're looking for. Yep.
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle Molesky.
You're welcome.
Windsor police are asking the public to have a closer look at a surveillance photo of an SUV that is believed to be partially involved in last week's fatal pedestrian crash. Police say this is the vehicle in question, believed to be a dark-colored SUV, possibly navy blue with tinted windows and a rear window spoiler or wing. Investigators say the driver of this vehicle was partially involved in a two-vehicle fatal crash that killed a 65-year-old. As we first reported last week, that pedestrian was walking mid-block in the 1600 block of Tecumseh Road East on April 15th when she was hit by a vehicle. The impact threw her into the opposite lane, causing her to be struck by a second vehicle. Now, the driver of the first vehicle stayed on scene, but officers said the driver of the second vehicle did not. Police are once again asking for the public to check if the vehicle in question can be seen in surveillance video between 10 and 10:30 p.m. on April 15th, again in the 1600 block of Tecumseh Road East. Police are also encouraging the driver to please come forward to help in this investigation as the victim's family continues to grieve.
I can only imagine that the family is going to be dealing with some traumatic feelings at this time, but we are focused heavily on trying to bring justice to whoever, to the family and to the person who unfortunately lost their life in this collision.
Windsor police have also charged a 24-year-old man in connection to an alleged sexual assault. Officers were called on April 8th to Wyandotte Street East and Crawford Avenue, where a woman was reportedly pushed from a vehicle. Investigators say she had met the suspect through social media before the alleged assault at an East End residence. Joshua Sawyer St. Pierre was arrested days later and is now charged with sexual assault, and traffic-related offenses. Let's take a break now. Chilly this morning, but conditions will heat up once again. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me for a first look at the weather from the top of the Bell Building tonight. Gary.
Stefanie, it was indeed quite chilly. Temperatures below the freezing mark for a short bit, but certainly cold enough during the early morning commute that I think you needed the jacket, maybe even a hat and gloves. Through the midday, increasing sunshine. It's a beautiful sunny evening through to dusk. The winds have picked up out of the northwest, and that's why we are in the cooler zone as compared to the west. The prairies have warmed up considerably. I'll talk about the chance of seeing temperatures reach 20, maybe even 25 degrees over the next couple of days. We are going to warm up. That's the big weather story. I'll fill in the details in just moments. For now, I'll send it back inside to you at the desk. Stephanie?
This next story is for anyone who uses the intersection of Les Bronze Road and County Road 42. Major traffic delays that started this morning are expected to continue for the next 6 weeks. The intersection will remain fully closed in all directions as crews begin a complete rebuild. The project includes widening the roads, plus new sidewalks, bike lanes, crosswalks, streetlights, and traffic signals. Mayor Gary McNamara says the closure is necessary to speed up complex underground work, and he is asking drivers to please be patient. Detours are routing drivers to Banwell and Manning roads, although businesses in the area will remain accessible. The closure is expected to last again until the end of May, weather permitting. On the other end of the city, southbound Ojibwe Parkway will have lane restrictions between G and Booth Drive and the Essex Terminal rail tracks. Those lane restrictions for concrete road repairs run from today through May 15th. Councillor Fred Francis says Ojibwe Parkway is among the region's busiest corridors, acting as the gateway to LaSalle and Amherstburg. And traffic volumes are expected to continue rising, particularly as the Gordie Howe International Bridge opens. The city says work on Ojibwe Parkway will continue as long as weather permits. Demolition now is underway at the former clubhouse at Windsor's Roseland Golf Course. Crews moved in on Monday to tear down the decades-old building off Kennedy Drive. The clubhouse, originally built in 1979, has been a fixture at the city-owned course for years. City Council approved funding for the demolition as part of a broader plan to modernize the facility and make way for a new, smaller clubhouse. The work marks the next step in a long-term redevelopment of Roseland, one of Canada's only municipally owned courses, designed by famed golf architect Donald Ross. City officials say golfers will continue to have access to the course during construction, with temporary arrangements in place while the new clubhouse is being built. The town of Kingsville's decision to open its recreational fields on May 1st has disappointed soccer communities in the area already using them.
What hurts us the most, working with the town, we've had a great relationship. It's really just, better communication we hope for in future years, right? We've been expressing our start date for months now with the town, even as recent as April 9th, like I mentioned, and at no point was there any mention that fields would be closed until May 1st.
Both the Kingsville and Cottam Soccer Associations issued notices over the weekend to their members that all games and practices would be suspended until fields opened on May 1st. The town issued a statement stressing field rentals begin in May, but that staff aim to open earlier if conditions allow. The town says persistent rain means the fields aren't quite ready to open and manage the load of a full season. Treasurer Michael Chabot says players had already been using the fields beginning April 14th, and the false start now means pushing the minor soccer season back 2 weeks, ending now on July 4th.
Can't speak to why they went out on the fields earlier. I can only speak to the town issuing permits for the May 1st start. It's not unlike any other municipality. These things happen. Folks get excited to get out there and enjoy the weather, and enjoy the fields, and that's what we want.
After repeated flood events hit homes, roads, and businesses in Harrow and Colchester, Mayor Sherry Bondi is calling for a dedicated flooding task force to tackle the issue head-on.
When it rains, people panic, and we need to make sure that they have the information to look at their basement, ensure their basement is fortified, they have a sump pump backup, everything's in working order.
The group would dig into everything from stormwater systems and aging infrastructure to development pressures and climate impacts, while working directly with residents and experts to find solutions. The motion heads to council on Monday with debate set for May 4th. Residents are being urged to show up and be part of the solution. The company offering Bird e-scooters and bikes says they have no intentions of leaving Windsor.
We're still very hopeful that an extension will get put in place quite shortly here. So we're treating this more as a pause than an end of service from our perspective.
The city announced last week a 5-year agreement with Bird Canada is coming to an end on Tuesday. Hundreds of electric bikes and scooters across the city will be packed up if an extension is not signed. Bird Canada say that they have recorded nearly 500,000 trips since launching in Windsor. Service disruptions have prompted layoffs affecting half of their 20-person team in the city. General Manager Patrick Graham says they're still hopeful a deal can come together.
We know that this service provides people with affordable, sustainable transportation to get to work, to school, and people rely on this. And it's a net benefit to, a huge number of people in the city. Last year we had over 16,000 residents take rides on the service. So a large number of people do rely on this each and every day.
We've reached out to the city regarding the contract with Bird, but haven't heard back as of news time. So this brings us to our question of the day. Have you ever rented a Bird e-scooter? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you have ever used a vinyl record player. Out of around 1,000 votes, 90% say yes. The Premier says he will follow through on a decision to sell a recently purchased private jet following major public backlash. CTV's Siobhan Morris spoke with Doug Ford about the controversy.
I understand that you may be passionate this morning.
Tempers hot in question period over the Ford government's purchase of a 10-year-old, $29 million jet intended for the Premier's business.
To say this was just a minor error is absolutely absurd.
Announced and defended by the Premier's office on Friday. By Sunday morning, Doug Ford said he's putting the plane up for sale.
It shows leadership when our Premier recognizes that a decision needs to be changed, and he changes it.
The Premier in Ottawa for a speaking engagement got an earful over the weekend.
I heard loud and clear from the people that this was not the time to purchase a plane.
Ford says he should have been out making the case for the jet, even as Ontarians struggled to get by.
I understand the cost of fuel is going up. I understand groceries are going up. I understand everything is going up, and it's costly.
But critics say the plane purchase has marred Ford's For the People brand.
The Premier's personal preference to have his own private luxury jet is really speaking more about who he really is.
The Premier feels he's victim of a double standard.
I'm under scrutiny more than the Prime Minister, more than any Premier in the entire country. And the inconsistencies from the media are just mind-boggling to me.
Pointing out Quebec and the federal government have jets to move politicians. The reversal leaves the opposition with more questions than before.
We deserve to know how every dollar was spent on this greedy scheme, including the penalties, including the resale losses.
The original buy would have been approved by Cabinet.
I can't disclose conversations that occur at Treasury Board or at the Cabinet level to preserve Cabinet confidentiality.
And new changes to freedom of information laws speeding through the legislature may keep more insight in secret.
And the Premier has the gall to spend your tax dollars on a private luxury jet, and now he's trying to use legislation to hide it from you.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
7,310 new members. Still ahead on Windsor's news leader, the factors behind a sharp uptick in recruitments in the ranks. A new jet ski proposal is making waves at Colchester Harbour, but not everyone is on board, why some residents say it could disrupt their summer peace. Whether it's the current state of the world or the money Ottawa is pumping into defense, recruitment for the Canadian Armed Forces is at a 30-year high. CTV's Michael Couture on what's really behind the enthusiasm to enlist.
John! 7,310 new members were welcomed into the Canadian Armed Forces last year. The minister credits a newfound nationalism among recruits as the country faces threats from U.S. President Donald Trump of being made the 51st state.
They are very committed to this country. They want to see Canada remain secure and sovereign.
The McGuinty added the 20% wage increase for soldiers announced by the Liberal government helps, as do other investments.
They're also seeing on the ground a concomitant investment in material, in new housing, in kit.
Despite the spike in enrollments, the military still remains understaffed by a few thousand troops. Add to that an attrition rate of 8.5%, which makes it more difficult to hit the goal of 71,500 troops by the year 2029. Retention is another obstacle.
The size of the military is increasing, but the size of trained soldiers is decreasing because the training system is not able to catch up with the pace.
The Conservatives lay all the blame on the Liberals, saying it's a symptom of the last decade of neglect on military spending.
Out of the 97 occupations that are in the Canadian Armed Forces, 27 of them are still at critical levels, that they may not even be able to fill those positions over the next 25 years.
Now, the defense minister wasn't as forthcoming with answers when asked about the lack of progress on the purchase of new submarines and fighter jets. But there is a sense that the government wants more industrial benefits for Canada out of those multi-billion-dollar deals. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada Post workers have started voting today on a 5-year contract. The 55,000 employees represented by the Canadian Union of Postal Workers can vote until May 30th on whether to ratify an agreement with the Crown Corporation. Canada Post and the union have battled over wages and structural changes to the postal service for more than 2 years, with workers hitting the picket lines multiple times. Both sides have agreed not to engage in any strike or lockout activity while the ratification vote happens. And Windsor-Tecumseh MPP Andrew Dowie is signaling his readiness to support controversial retroactive changes to Ontario's Freedom of Information system. The Ford government, as you heard earlier in the show, is set to skip committee debate on the move that will seal public access to records from the Premier, Cabinet and their offices. Ontario's Information and Privacy Commissioner called the changes shocking and an attempt to evade public accountability. The Premier has stressed keeping his personal phone records private is a key reason for the change. Dowie says the revision will bring Ontario's law in line with other Canadian jurisdictions and allow politicians to have frank conversations behind closed doors.
We need to strike the right balance between the need to know, which is largely unaffected with these changes. 95% of today's requests are unchanged. These are specific to the political level, call it akin to in-camera conversations that a municipal council has. I think any organization, your personal phone is your personal phone, and government stuff is one thing.
A business proposal on the docks of Colchester Harbour is making waves among boaters. More than 40 residents gathering this weekend to raise questions about a jet ski rental business on the water. CTV's Robert Lothian reports.
Quiet for now, the docks at Colchester Harbour will be buzzing by this summer and potentially with a new business on board.
It's going to bring on more traffic to the dock, and the docks are used for recreational time for us.
Residents gathering Saturday to hear about a proposed jet ski rental business on D Dock. That's the same spot David Y finds peace every summer.
It's a difficult area to jet ski out of. So a little cynical. I mean, I'm just not sure how they're going to do, and I think it's just going to be an inconvenience for us.
The business requires a green light from Essex Town Council to move ahead. Harbour users raising questions about parking, safety, insurance, and added congestion.
I've already had problems with jet skiers before, not understanding the rules and understanding right of way. That's been a big problem for me.
Jetwave Inc. co-owners presenting their plans to residents. 3 jet skis available for rent 6 days a week and a 4th to use in case of emergencies.
We want people to experience things that we weren't able to experience, Like we wish there was jet ski rentals when we were younger and we didn't have all the money to buy those jet skis.
Users will need a temporary boating license and will undergo online and in-person training. JetWave will also monitor the equipment's location and limit the watercraft's maximum speed.
Also, we have a kill switch that we added, so whenever somebody's getting close to somewhere they shouldn't be, we can just stop the machine.
A vote by 26 residents received 16 ballots cast in favor of the business and 2 people saying maybe, the rest all in opposition. Concerns aside, Chris Delbin says he's willing to give the business a chance.
If it's done correctly, it will be a benefit for the town, for the restaurants downtown, and for the people, all around.
Essex Town Council will vote Monday on whether to lease the berth space to JetWave for 1 year.
We want to attract people to our area. We also need to make sure that we're balancing, the peace and tranquility of the harbor with people who use it like summer cottages.
The deposits have already been made on the jet skis, and with the right approvals, the co-owners say they could be operational here in the coming months. All they're looking for now is the final green light from Essex Town Council. In Colchester for CTV News, I'm Robert Lothian.
Canada's main stock index changed direction to finish in positive territory today. In Toronto, the TSX gained a very modest 14 points, while in New York, the Dow fell 5, the Nasdaq lost 64. The Canadian dollar is up 0.13 today. On commodity markets, gold dropped almost $51 an ounce, and oil gained $4.83 a barrel. Well, beach season nears later. When will Holiday Beach open for the season?
Our $15,000 backyard refresh is back, powered by Plantscape Windsor. Head to ctvwindsor.ca and upload a photo of your backyard, and you'll be possibly the winner of this great event. Remember, $15,000 up for grabs. Transform your backyard for the summer. You gotta enter and do it now.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
I believe those gorgeous tulips are at Jackson Park. Gary, I'm not sure, but I always get excited when the city starts planting.
That was down by the river, but I'm sure Jackson Park has similar tulips, and the bulbs are colorful. I agree, it's an exciting time. Temperature's certainly cooler. I said it was coming. There was going to be a drastic change as we started the work week for most Monday. As we are looking at the almanac, 8.7 degrees Celsius. We were at the freezing mark at around 7 a.m. We were at minus 1.1 degrees Celsius at 5 a.m. today. It's been a sunny day. The air quality also has been good. So sunny and good, but cold. Air quality a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. The lower the number, the better. So that's excellent. 7 degrees in Windsor. That's 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly sunny as we head towards dusk. 2 degrees cooler in Chatham-Kent. 5 Celsius or 41 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds have been a big part of the story, and they've been coming out of the north and northwest. That's where the coldest air is, and at least in our province, temperatures surging now in the west when they were surging in the east. And we've even seen some flurries across the lower Great Lakes, northeastern shores of Lake Erie, and some snow, and some of it's evaporating before it actually hits the surface. But interesting to see the next little while. Tonight, mostly clear until the clouds move in the middle of the night, technically tomorrow morning, and then they'll clear in the afternoon. And we'll see a clearing also through the midweek. The rainfall graphic, I put it up here simply to show that there's a very slight chance that we could see some rain early Tuesday morning. If we do, again, just like the weekend, we'll see a lot of virga. You might see clouds off in the distance, and it looks wispy underneath the cloud base, and that's virga, right? Raindrops that are evaporating before they hit the surface. So it doesn't count. Take a look at our Enercare Siles 7-day forecast. Clearing tomorrow, a high of 21. What a nice rebound in terms of temperatures. Our average high for this time of year is 14. Wednesday, chance of showers 20, then 24 and 24. Thursday, cloudy showers, about a 40% chance. Friday, 24 and sunny. And then we cool off and more seasonal. Still above average. Saturday, cloudy showers, a possibility 18 and 16 and sunny. Sunday, 7 is the low on Monday with a high of 16. Showers possible. That's a look at your weather this hour.
Just over a year after the first confirmed measles case in Windsor, Essex, health officials say the outbreak has stabilized, but caution remains. The region recorded 150 cases after the virus was first detected in March of 2025. The last infection was reported in July. Since then, vaccination rates have climbed, especially among school-age children. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Maria Luge says the community is now in a stronger position than it was at this time last year. Efforts to verify vaccinations and monitor new cases are ongoing. A business in Montreal has found success employing people with disabilities, as well as those who have autism or are neurodivergent. It's a model they've used for 50 years and say it is helping many of their employees thrive. CTV's Lauren Fernandez reports.
I always shake them a little to make sure that the seal is done properly.
Tommy Edinger is all about quality control. He's autistic and has been working at packaging facility Atelier Gem since 2021.
The longest job that I've had is here at Gem, and I didn't start with this position, but I worked my way up.
This isn't his first job, but it's the only workplace he's found that he says sees his strengths.
They don't thrust you into something that might be intimidating. They check up and make sure that you're able to coexist as a unit or as an individual.
Gem has been an adapted workplace for almost 50 years. Executive Director Maya Cooper says everyone here has something unique to offer.
It's really important for us to focus on abilities as opposed to disabilities. And though somebody who may be seen as having autism may be stigmatized or looked down upon in society and in the world around us, when they walk through the door here, the first thing we do is get to know them so we can understand what are they particularly good at.
A study by Deloitte found that 33% of neurodiverse people in Canada are employed, and Cooper says adapted workplaces help, and there should be more of them.
We are investing into a society where now all of us, all of our employees, regardless of what they present with, are earning, paying taxes, taking their hard-earned money and spending it on things that feed the economy and stimulate the economy, and everybody feels better about themselves.
And that includes Tommy.
You want to be able to have that freedom to feel like your voice is heard, and that's the most important thing about an adapted workplace.
It's an environment making an impact on everyone.
It makes me emotional. Like it's such a gift.
Working here at Gem has definitely gave me a new layer of confidence.
Confidence to take on the world, no matter what your ability. Lauren Fernandez, CTV News.
The U.S. has changed, and we must respond.
A warning to Canadians from Mark Carney coming up, what it means for you amid rising tensions with Donald Trump. Prime Minister Mark Carney delivered a pre-recorded address to the nation this weekend, something he says will be happening more regularly. He referred to Canada's relationship with the U.S. as a weakness amid the ongoing trade war. CTV's Graham Richardson has more on the Prime Minister's messaging.
It's a direct address to Canadians shot at a home in suburban Ottawa, with Mark Carney spending a lot of time on how the United States has turned away from free trade and what that means for Canada.
Many of our former strengths, based on our close ties to America, have become our weaknesses weaknesses that we must correct. The U.S. has changed, and we must respond.
Pictures of his China and India trips front and center, suggestions that conservatives are too optimistic about changes in America.
There are some who say there's no need for a comprehensive plan. They believe we should wait it out in the hope that the United States will return to normal, that the good old days will come back.
Conservatives dismissed all of this as more of the same.
A family filling up a grocery cart in Saskatoon doesn't need Mark Carney's economic philosophy. They need the bill at the checkout to stop going up.
Carney talks about history here, too, and how Canadians have beat back American aggression before. Featuring a small statue of Isaac Brock, he says he keeps in his office a gift from Mike Myers.
Brock was a hero who fought and gave his life for our forebears in the War of 1812.
This address was not designed for a soft, comforting message.
There was an effort to offer people reassurance in this message, but much of it was stark. Much of it was meant to drive home how severe the challenge that we are confronting truly is.
This all comes at a tense time for Canada-U.S. relations. The Americans are moving forward with formal free trade talks with Mexico. That hasn't happened for Canada yet. And if this address was designed to land with Canadians, the government will be watching very closely to see how it lands with Donald Trump. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
Windsor is about to turn up the volume this summer. Legendary tribute act, the Australian Pink Floyd show, is making its highly anticipated return to the Coliseum in August. Known worldwide for recreating the iconic sound and spectacle of Pink Floyd, the group has sold more than 5 million tickets across 35 countries. The band even earned praise from David Gilmour himself, joining him on stage for a memorable performance of Comfortably Numb. Their Happiest Days of Our Lives tour promises a full sensory experience complete with dazzling lasers, massive inflatables, and all the timeless hits fans know and love. Tickets go on sale April 24th for one night only. That's happening on August 27th. And spring is returning to the shoreline in Amherstburg as Holiday Beach Conservation Area prepares to welcome visitors back for the season. Opening day is set for Saturday, April 25th. Gates open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., marking the return of road access and seasonal camping at the popular destination. Visitors with seasonal passes can drive in and park, while daily access fees remain $12 per vehicle or $5 for pedestrians and cyclists. Officials say those user fees help support ongoing maintenance and improvements across the park.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. April is Be a Donor Month. Register your consent to organ donation today at beadonor.ca. A message from Windsor Regional Hospital. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, talking some more about employment law.
Yeah, it's in relation to a former Windsor employee who is suing the city for $2.8 million. Windsor's former planner sued the city in 2024 for breach of contract and wrongful dismissal. None of his allegations have been proven in court. A Toronto-based employment lawyer has nothing to do with that legal process, but she tells us ever since the pandemic, half of her caseload is this type of thing, an employee who feels wronged by their employer.
We have seen an uptick in employees being aware of what their possible entitlements could be on termination. So what that means is if an employee is terminated, if an employee believes that they have been treated unfairly, they're more likely to hire lawyers.
We've got more top stories online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we also have a story online about a stunt driving charge, this in the town of LaSalle.
Yeah, so police say that a driver was charged for going 41 kilometers per hour over the posted speed limit on Front Road. An officer stopped a vehicle going 111 in a 70 zone yesterday afternoon. That's just 1 kilometer over the threshold for stunt driving. A 50-year-old from Windsor was charged with stunt driving and driving while under suspension. And in our social spotlight, these professional kayakers are taking advantage of the raging rapids in the Ottawa River. Now, while it may look fun, they stress that the fast-moving water is quite dangerous and only safe for professionals who have proper equipment and safety gear, and they never go out alone, Stefanie.
Yeah, this definitely stresses me out. I have not kayaked on the Ottawa River, but I did go whitewater rafting on the Ottawa River. A 2-day little camping trip. The first day, completely fine. The second day, it was horrible. I went underwater, had to be rescued. My life flashed before my eyes. And I'm here today to tell the story.
It looks insane. I don't even know how they do the barrel rolls like that. Like, whew.
Yeah, again, like you said, it looks fun, but, you know, be cautious.
The professionals.
Yeah. If viewers have cool video of them kayaking or rafting or surfing, you know, how can they send it to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they can email us at newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to 10400.
And that's what's happening now. Thank you, Melanie. And when we return, how a playoff sweater knit by a lifelong fan has become a national treasure. Oh, that's interesting. Do you know what that's called?
No.
No, we should ask Sandy McDonald.
Well, we should, and we'll find out. Don't put me on the spot.
Well, I don't mean to.
If you want to ask me about weather.
We'll find out for our viewers and get back to them.
I should know that tree and that blossom, but I don't. Oh, so much going on.
I know.
It was cold this morning, and Stefanie, I can tell you, we were at minus 1.1 degrees Celsius. But instead of continuing along this path of cold air, it's been a beautiful, clear day. It's been a chilling one. We're going to warm up substantially tomorrow. Sunny. We'll see clouds disappearing through the midday, high of 21, then 20 on Wednesday. Cloudy day, 40% chance of showers. Same forecast for Thursday, but even warmer at 24 and sunny on Friday, and then mid-teens Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This time next week, our average should be about 15, and that's where we'll likely be.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Lastly, tonight we're talking about last year's World Series appearance, and it ensured the Toronto Blue Jays a permanent place in baseball history. And one of the team's most dedicated fans has secured her place in Canadian history thanks to her passion for knitting. CTV's Heather Butts explains.
I don't know why it's making me cry. An emotional reunion for Carla Courtney and her original Blue Jays sweater. Can I hug it? Am I allowed to touch it now that it's in a museum? Part of a knitting passion project dedicated to her beloved team has turned into a piece of sports memorabilia woven into Canadian history.
Even if I was dreaming of something that would happen as a knitter and baseball fan with these things colliding, not even in my wildest dreams would I think that something I've made would be in this type of institution.
Her sweater, now part of the nation's largest sports collection at the Canadian Museum of History.
We think sports can tell great stories about Canada, Canadian identity. This seemed like a way to go beyond just the record books or the stats and really talk about how sport is lived in the country.
And this series is underway with a swing and a ground ball. That's fair.
Courtney started the playoff sweater when the Toronto Blue Jays entered the postseason last year. Only knitting on game days, the garment and a remarkable story of sports' power to unite took shape.
This is a wonderful way to sort of remember the spirit and passion and excitement that was behind this team during this incredible playoff run.
The lifelong Jays fan lives in the UK, but returned home to Toronto last fall to catch her team in person. The sweater was even kissed by manager John Schneider, just one of 15 games worth of memories stained into its colors.
That's when Barger hit the grand slam. I dropped it in Nathan Phillips Square, the yarn itself, and then it got knit into the sweater. I left this unfinished because they lost, so I knit this during Game 7, just this cuff. And when they didn't win, I just thought, well, it's not finished, so I left it.
Her journey with the Jays started at age 7 when her grandmother taught her to knit during summers in Newfoundland.
I would knit and we'd watch the baseball games.
Courtney is back in Toronto to help fans throw themselves into a new season and to celebrate the sweater's success and honor the woman who helped get her here.
What would your grandmother think of all this? Oh, you're going to make me cry now, honestly. My grandma would be so proud, honestly. My grandma's the reason I do a lot of what I do.
That includes inspiring her new Jays sweater featuring Canadian yarn. Created by Briggs & Little in New Brunswick, the same facility where her grandmother would send her fleece to be spun into yarn decades ago. They've now created a special Blue Jays color to honor this story and help inspire fans with their own creations.
I'm happy the sweater gets to live here. It's a Canadian sweater, it's a Canadian story, and now it's kind of in the heart of Canada, I guess.
A full circle moment that could be considered a grand slam. Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
I feel like we are going to see a clothing line out of her of some sort.
Yeah, great story.
I love how there's so many small individual stories within the whole picture. You know, you look at that garment.
It's great. It's a great story. I caution those at a baseball game, especially if you're near like ground level. You heads up.
Yeah.
Right? Foul balls and what have you. Knitting while the game's going on. Maybe that's a way to keep the anxiety at bay.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously a special memory with her grandmother, which of course I'm sure she would be thrilled and so happy looking down on her. Okay, on behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we'll be back with your only late local newscast tonight at 11.
See you then.